Well, hi everyone, and welcome to another podcast of the Real CD Show. My name is Chamberlain Burke,
And I'm Devlin Burke.
and over the course of the last several weeks and months, since January, if I remember correctly, we've been doing our podcast celebrating the women of hard rock and heavy metal, and we're going to suspend that for this podcast and talk about something else that's become incredibly important given the recent activities that happened in Manchester, England. Um, as everyone knows, there was a horrible tragedy at the Manchester Arena after an Ariana Grande concert. And unfortunately, there were a number of fatalities and a number of injuries. And we want to express our condolences and our sincere sympathies to those people and to their families, to the people of Manchester and the people around the world. I mean, this hit us hard, and we've never been to England. But the idea that somebody would harm other people is devastating enough, but that they would harm young children who were attending, in many, many, many cases, their first concert, and then parents who have to deal with the reality of our world is changing in a very devastating way. It's become a very mindful situation, and we want to take a moment and express our condolences and our sympathies um, to everyone affected by this. But we also want to try to put a positive spin on it. What usually happens when there's a tragedy or a devastation is we learn from it, and our innocence has been taken, and we have to move on, of course, but we will always remember what happened, and we will remember those families and those horribly affected by what happened. Um, Over the course of the last few podcasts, while we've been talking about the women of hard rock and heavy metal, we've shown um, the concert dates, the tour dates. And one of the things that hit us hard after you after you deal with the initial devastation of what happened is that this was a concert, and we've been encouraging people to go to concerts. And that's going to continue. We are going to continue to say, live your life and go to concerts. What happened is this happened in the third week. Well, yeah, the one, two, three, the third week in May, fourth week in May. And this is the beginning of the summer concert series season. And everyone is getting ready. They've already bought tickets, or they're prepping and they're saving, and they want to go to concerts. And yes, we want you to go to concerts. We want you to say, I have my money. I've got my stuff. I love that group, that band, that singer, and I am going to go and enjoy myself. Now, we can't be naive about this anymore. So, one of the things that we're going to concentrate on in this podcast very briefly is, yes, we want you to continue to go to concerts. But one of the things we want you to focus on is you have to think about it differently now. So, I've spoken enough. Devlin, can you start with this and tell us some things that we should be aware of and concerned about when we go to those concerts, because damn it, we're going to go.
Yes, and I also would like to express condolences to Manchester, England. I cannot imagine what you guys must be going through, and our hearts are with you. I love going to concerts. I've made friends at concerts, and I actually had um, I went to a Fall Out Boy concert, and a fight broke out.
Weren't you still in high school? You were very young at that time. That was
Yeah.
that was one of your first
Yeah.
concerts where you were more of an adult, and it was a
Yeah.
rock concert. It wasn't like some of the ones your
Yeah.
parents took you to.
Yeah. And a fight broke out in this concert, and but thankfully I had, and but I had, and because I was so excited to go to this concert, I went and I did a little bit of research, and I think now with what's gone on, we're now going to have to be very vigilant and keep an eye out on each other, because us in the rock community and any music community, we're brothers and sisters. We've got to keep an eye on each other. We have to um, keep each other safe. As while we're having a good time, we also have to be mindful that something like this could happen at one of our concerts. Um, and Thankfully, when the fight broke out, security was quick, and we knew to go out into the lobby. It was a small venue, so we knew that. I went to a concert 2 years ago, and I think one of the things that helped with me was I kept going to the same venue, and I was on a first name basis with most of the security staff, so they kind of knew me and knew who I was.
Now, how did you establish those relationships?
I would just say hi, and they would recognize me, and they go, "You're here again," and I'm like, "Yeah, hello."
So when you went back, you would
Yeah.
seek them or see them because they're usually around.
Yeah.
And I firmly believe that we are going to see much more security now,
Yeah.
and we want to be mindful of that, and we want to thank them for what they're doing. So you just went up and you kind of just waved at them and made contact. You didn't detract from their job.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like there would be a security guard at the door, and I'm usually like the fourth or fifth in line because I'm so excited to go to a concert. And they would go, "Oh, you're back again." "Yeah, I'm back," because they would kind of patrol the line and look for suspicious activity and things like that. And they would go, "Oh, you're here again." "Yeah, hi, how are you?" And just say, "Are you excited for the show?" And yeah, just casual chit chat. And then they would say, "Well, I got a job to do," and I go, "Yeah, you do your job." And so I think that's important. I also one of the things I also did was I researched the venue. I wanted to know where I was going, so my parents would know if anything happened. They knew to look to that venue, and so I read about the venue. And we actually decided to show some tips here. Like, for example, Chamberlain, do you want to? Yeah. The venue where this tragedy happened, the capacity is 21,000 people. So I'd say get to know how many people are going to be in this venue, because it's not just you and your party. If you're going with friends, it's you and
20,999 more of your new best friend.
Yes. So get to know. So research the venue, find out the capacity.
One of the things I would suggest before you go, even if it's a place you go to all the time, you're probably not looking at it this way. Find out what places are around it. Now, I know that a lot of outdoor venues are big and they take up a lot of space and they have blank space around it. They don't have a lot of buildings around it because they would complain about the noise. So you're not going to find an apartment building. But find out if there's any kind of food establishment, any kind of place where if you had to evacuate, you could go. Okay, that was something that I just thought of. So we just wanted to kind of honor Manchester by showing the Wikipedia page for Manchester Arena, which is where this horrific tragedy took place. Now, since this happened, there are other pages that have talked about this. So we want to just take a few minutes and go over this. This is hardrockhub.com, and they're talking now about concert safety. So as I said, this is just things we need to think about. When you walk into a venue, pay attention to which door. It will likely be numbered. Okay. Also, when you park your car, when you get there, when you park your car, make sure you know where you parked. Make sure everyone in your car knows where you parked. If you have small children with you, see if you can make a game out of it, like the number, tie it into somebody's age or tie it into your address. And if it's got like a letter or something, tie it into a cartoon character or something like that. Make sure everyone in your car knows where your car is parked. Okay, when you walk in, pay attention to which door, and then tie that into where your car is. If you walked around the venue because you parked in one place and the door was in another, make sure you know that. And then figure out when you get in, okay, if I had to walk around the venue, what door will take me out quicker to get to my car? Always look at the exits. And they tell you this on planes. And I know a lot of people, when I travel, when the flight crew is doing the emergency exits, people are asleep, people are reading, people are not paying attention. That is not the time to not pay attention. They're telling you how to get out in case of an emergency. Look for the extra exits. So the bigger the venue, the more there are going to be. But that also means that the smaller the venue, the fewer there are going to be. So look at where your seat is in relation to an exit and where that exit is in relation to your car. Know the cell number of every person in your party. Okay, the other thing is, and this was something I heard on the news our local news the other day, and I don't know if it's on this list. Have everybody in your party have the number of someone who is not at the concert. So if your kids are going, if you have, teenagers or young adults, make sure everyone in that car, everyone who is going has the parents' phone number so that everybody will call one number. Have them, I think that in the news thing it was called Grandma's House. But have some place where if you get separated, everybody can call that number and say, hi, this is Mike. I just want to let you know I'm okay. I'm with a police officer. I'm going to hook up with everybody, so that everybody is calling the same numbers and that person knows that in case of an emergency, somebody is going to call. Have a quick conversation with your party about an unlikely emergency. Don't make it a doom and gloom. Just say, hey, if something happens, if this gets really loud and we need to leave, or if we decide we're going to go, or if, here's what we're going to do. Make a pact to get out, and don't wait for each other if something bad happens. Pick a landmark to meet at outside of the venue. So this is what I was talking about. If there's a Denny's around, let's go to Denny's. Let's go to whatever, a fast food place, or even a hospital, any kind of establishment that might be open, or a place where you can meet, even if it's closed. Okay, but just make sure it's a safe place. Ladies, wear flat shoes and not flip-flops. Okay, I cannot tell you how many times I go to concerts and I see women in flip-flops, sandals, high heels. Wear shoes that if you have to run, you can. You want to be comfortable anyway. It's not a fashion show. But wear shoes. I mean, I tell this when I get on the plane. If you have to hike out of a canyon, make sure you have shoes. It doesn't have to be hiking boots, but they should be shoes if you had to run or you had to walk, or you have to be careful of your own foot safety. You want to make sure your feet aren't going to get cut or stepped on. So you want to make sure that happens. And this goes the same for guys. I've seen guys at concerts and traveling in sandals, and make sure you don't want to get blisters, and you want to be careful. So make sure that you have appropriate shoes that cover your feet and that you could spend some time in. Okay, go easy on the alcohol. Keep your wits about you. It's expensive, but you also want to be careful and keep your head. If something happens, I mean, even, and we're not talking about something like what happened at Manchester, but if somebody in your party gets sick, or if anything happens, it's one thing to relax and, hey, I'm going to have something to drink with my friends. Have it early, and then give yourself time to sober up and enjoy the concert. Okay. Know and understand the crowd. You can sense when a crowd is getting aggressive or out of control. Be very careful. Be prepared to leave if you have to. Your safety is more important than a concert. Okay. And this one is most importantly, don't let fear keep you from seeing the bands you love and living your life. We cannot live in fear, and we cannot let fear control us. We can be mindful. We can change our patterns a little bit. One of the other things that I saw on the news, one of the venues where we are now, they are not allowing big bags or big backpacks, and they are not allowing purses or bags that are larger than 6x9. So that's like a small envelope. Okay. And I know I'm groaning already because I carry more stuff that I don't ever use. But I've got a left shoulder that, could pull a train. So start looking at, I'm going to take only what I need. If you have to fill your pockets with your chapstick, your ID, make sure if you have your stuff, okay, your cell phone, if you put it in your back pocket, somebody could pick your pocket. If you put your wallet in your pocket, somebody could pick it. So you want to make sure that you have a fanny pack. Don't be careful when you wear them. They are not good fashion statements, but you can carry it. Have a small bag with you, something that you don't have to hold in your hand, something you can sling over your shoulder and keep your hands free. Okay? Be safe and keep yourself safe. But look around and see if you can render aid or help somebody who may be sick, who may have fallen down, and be very mindful. Think of, if you were the person, would you want someone to help you? Devlin, do you have anything else to add?
I saw in another article they were talking about, as much as people love dancing in the pit, if you get floor seats, if there's festival seating, and one of the statements was stay close to the railing. Now I know we all like to dance at concerts. I do too. But what we have to do is if you stay by the railing, you can get out quicker if there's an emergency and people say get out. So stay near the railing if that's necessary. You can dance, but make sure you can get back to the railing as quickly as possible, so that if something does happen, you can get out safely. Again, it's sad that we have to do this for our concerts, but we have to be safe and we have to look out for each other.
Well, the thing is, we're worth it, okay? And we do. I mean it, okay? There's no reason for us to not do what we're going to do. So, this is what we can tell you right now based on what's come out since this horrible tragedy. We can want you to continue to go to concerts. When you go to concerts this summer, take a moment, realize how lucky you are, and think about the people of Manchester. Have a great summer, and we'll see you on the next podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good night.